welcome to Vazir Group, and today we have a very special guest. That's Mr. Frans from Netherlands, live here for you. He's the director of Tio Business School, and that's ranked 1 business school in Netherlands. So let's make it a point to ask all our questions today. So welcome, Mr. Frans. How have you been?
Well, thank you, and I'm doing great. It's a real pleasure and honor to be here today. Yeah.
Brilliant. First of all, welcome to India. How are you liking it?
I like it a lot. And to be honest, up until now life has not brought me to India before, so it's my first visit, but I'm enjoying it a lot. So
Great.
It's really a warm welcome, very friendly people, and it's an amazing country. It's impressive to be here.
I wish you all the luck and a lot of fun during your stay here in India.
Yeah.
Now, I have listed some questions for you here today, which are some common questions that Indian applicants ask. I hope we'll answer most of these questions. First of all, can you briefly introduce yourself and your journey in the international education sector?
Yeah, happy to onboard you in that story. So I am the director of Tio Business School, and that means I'm responsible for everything what we organize on the 6 campuses which we have in the Netherlands. And I take great pleasure and pride in doing that. And because we are a growing institution, and it is really an extra effort, and for me a strategic initiative to bring that story international. So that's why I'm here today with you to discuss the opportunity which is there to study with Tio Business School in the Netherlands. I do that while I'm also part of a family. I have a wife, 2 kids. We live in Amsterdam city center, which we enjoy a lot. It's really great to be there.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a rich environment in all different matters, culturally, business-wise, but also from a human perspective. It's really a rich environment.
Yeah.
No.
So what led you to join Tio Business School?
Yeah, great question. So Tio Business School is a thriving school. It's quite renowned in the Netherlands. It's already operational for 55 years.
Yeah.
And I already also knew the brand. Being in the Netherlands, typically people know Tio Business School.
Yeah.
Yet I also see a massive opportunity because Tio Business School is a very international institution.
Yeah.
Our Dutch students, of which we have many, typically like to have fully English taught classes, and they like to go abroad. They have internships abroad, they have collaborations abroad.
Yeah.
So that brought me to that point that when asked to take the lead as director of Tio Business School, to say, well, if there's one key endeavor I want to focus my effort on is to grow also internationally. On the 6 campuses which we have, we strive to be warm and welcoming for international students. And why is that? That's because that creates a richer learning environment for both Dutch students and for international students. Because that's where the magic happens, so we create English taught classes for both groups.
Correct.
And we mix it, and that opens up a lot of opportunity.
Correct. So the journey of Tio Business School as a university to now rank 1 private business school in Netherlands, how that journey has been, and why do you think Tio Business School deserves that spot?
Yeah. So we take great pride in that result. Already for 15 consecutive years, we rank number 1. And honestly, that takes a lot of hard work. It's painstaking to reach that level, and it's painstaking to stay on that level.
Right.
It's more or less comparable to a sports team. If you're champion of your country and you want to be champion again the next year and the year after that, you need to reinvent yourself every time. Because of course there are competitors who are competing with you. And we're competing with other institutions in the Netherlands, and we're competing globally.
Yeah.
So our approach that way is something which is really, maybe I would say even typically Dutch. And that is by always being open and out there on the market to see what's happening in business life.
Yeah.
Because we are a business school, our bachelor's, our master, and the graduate levels are focused on business.
Correct.
So we learn a lot from the industry and see what the current demands are, what the future demands are, and we already proactively work that in our curriculum and in our approach.
Right.
And so that delivers this great result that in independent measurement, we all, for the last 50 years, always ranked number 1.
Right. No. So at this point, with education, changing so dynamically, especially the business sector, what's the next target for Tio Business School, and how the university is adapting it each day to make it better and better?
Yeah. And so it's a volatile world out there, and there are challenges. So you need to, as a society, you need to respond to that. Again, I'm highly advocating for international collaboration.
Okay.
Any field, in any way, not only on education, any business, cooperate internationally, understand each other, bridge differences, and create value together.
Yeah.
And so that is first and foremost why I'm also personally highly involved in this international growth with Tio Business School.
Right.
Because I strongly believe that makes society better.
Right.
Second is, what's of course happening is the technological part. Because companies and businesses need to respond to what's happening with, for instance, generative AI.
Yeah.
Because that will change the future of work massively.
Right.
I'm a strong believer, I'm an optimist, I'm a strong believer it will change life for the good.
Right.
But you need to rethink business models. You need to rethink how you organize work and how jobs will function in the future.
Right.
So again, as a university, we have an important role to play there.
Right.
To really, in all the contact which we have with businesses, and we have plenty of contact with businesses, to really think with them, okay, what's happening on the marketing department now that there is AI?
Yeah.
And what will change in the future then because of that? And how to already educate the new generation so that they fully understand what's happening and that they're very effective with what the AI tools can bring.
Correct.
No.
Correct. So first, one reason why the students love Tio Business School, and me as a counselor, I love Tio Business School, is the career outcome. Because one reason why students are going is jobs. They want security of their career, and that's return on investment, right?
Yeah.
So how does Tio Business School exactly help students with a career outcome, and especially the international students?
And so it is all about the result.
Yeah.
And for us, the result is not reaching a diploma, because obviously that is part of the process.
Yeah.
But the end result is about building an international career for yourself.
Correct.
And about developing yourself as a person, as a human being, to a next level of professional and business skills.
Right.
And of understanding how organizations work, understanding how businesses work. And so we take great pride in securing in any way that we can that all our students, Dutch and international, are successful there. And what it means is that throughout the curriculum, any teacher you will have is from the industry.
Yeah.
They're typically always still active in the industry, either as a manager or a director or a business owner, and they're for a part-time role, one of our professors, one of our lecturers.
Yeah.
And that already in itself inherently means that you get a profound knowledge of the business, but that you also build a network. Because that person is a business owner or is a director or a manager. Throughout your curriculum, you will have plenty of opportunities for internships, which we provide with a Tio career event annually, where we gather over 100 international companies for all our students for an internship, to find part-time work, to find full-time work. And we help them also. It's one of the great assets in the Netherlands. It's very normal as a student to have a part-time job next to studying.
Yeah, yeah.
It's highly acceptable. Businesses are open. They have jobs for that.
Correct.
And so over 70% of students have a part-time job next to studying. And that's not only helpful because it helps in terms of a monthly allowance, but it's even more helpful because it helps you understand business and how an organization operates while you're also studying about that business. And again, it connects you even better with business life and building your network.
Right.
So inherently, we're part of a business environment.
Right. It also makes sense, because that's the education you're imparting.
Yeah.
Now, besides this, every time it's a student trying to fit in, into a university, but how does Tio Business School find the right fit, as in the right student, to be a part of it?
Yeah. Well, great question, because it takes two to tango, eh? If you want to have a successful match between the student and the institution, between the student and the teacher, and all the staff, it takes skill to get there. And the typical Tio student is someone who is really willing to take that courageous and exciting step to go international and to really not only educate themselves but really experience. And to do that, and that sounds like a contradiction, but to take such a courageous step, you probably best thrive in a very safe and very well-organized environment.
Yeah.
And that is what in general the Netherlands provides, and that is what specifically we as Tio Business School organize. So to navigate the Dutch society, it's very easy. It's a safe country, it's scored high in all kinds of indexes, safety, quality of life, happiness, while we are very competitive. That's why our average salaries are also very high.
Yeah,
but it's very easy to test and to challenge yourself and to experiment, to be successful or sometimes fail, because you know that there are people around you who help you if that happens. To celebrate that success, or if something is not successful, to pick you up and start over again.
Yes, totally.
And so that environment which is there in the Netherlands is really helpful to take that courageous step.
Correct. So at this point, Netherlands is definitely growing as a destination, for students. But from an expert standpoint, why do you think international, students, especially Indian students, should look at Netherlands for the study abroad?
Yeah. So it's of course impressive to see what kind of development there is here in India, the great country of India. It's a continent in itself, and it's really impressive what is happening here. And so being here in India, I really see a lot of common values. That entrepreneurial spirit, outgoing spirit is valued a lot. Yeah. There is a reason why so many of the multinationals nowadays have people from India in their board of directors or even a CEO. And so that's really a development which stands out, which captures the imagination, and it's also, we clearly see it in the Netherlands. And if there is one specific place on earth where you have a lot of international businesses combined, it's the Netherlands. Yeah. Of course, we're a small country, then comparable to India in that sense. Yet over time, we've managed to create an ecosystem which has room, which has space for many multinationals, global multinationals, European headquarters of multinationals, a lot of successful scale-ups and startups. Yeah. So I believe that is a very valuable environment to develop yourself as a young individual.
Correct.
And already take that, that courageous step of finding a different culture. Yeah. And to develop yourself already by doing that.
Correct. One thing that you rightly spoke about is that entrepreneurial mindset, because Indian students at this point, they need innovation. They need an environment where they can thrive, beyond borders. Yeah. How does Tio Business School help thriving entrepreneurs who are on campus, students who want to start something of their own? Are there incubators? Are there, VC funding? Something that they get?
Quite a substantial portion of our lecturers are themselves VC funders or work with those kind of companies. And again, that's where the beauty shows itself, that by the principal decision saying, okay, we work with lecturers who are connected to us for a long time. We build great educators out of them, yet they are expert in their industry and they remain active in their industry because their role is only part-time with us. And so that means that by definition, we have plenty of modules focused on entrepreneurship, on how to start up a business. We have a project week on how to start a business, irrespective of which undergraduate or graduate program you follow. There are modules on that subject. And we put an effort in it to also then start doing that. So there's a project week where students from the hotel management bachelor run their own hotel in all facets. And of course the customers are just regular paying customers. Yeah. But from at the reception desk until all the finances are managed by students.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. Same with business management students. Of course we mimic a stock exchange, and we have lecturers who are funders themselves. They put on a real stake in it, and of course it's money to practice with, but that money can really be lost or gained. So it's decisions matter, and as a student I believe that's very inspiring.
And that's the real learning. I think that's applied learning that we all yearn for.
Exactly.
So one thing that I've seen across Tio Business School is the extensive list, yet very specialized programs, right? Yeah. So what are some common programs or the most sought after programs, especially in the Indian market?
Yeah. So that's an interesting development, and the great thing is that also over the course of the next years we will keep a close eye on what's happening in the market, and we will develop new specializations because we are quick on our feet and we're responsive to what we see happening. Where the current market demand is a lot about luxury management. It's a lot around marketing. Definitely, it's a lot around generative AI and digital business building. So, it's sometimes a painstaking effort, but every time we succeed in finding the right expert to become a lecturer with Tio on such a subject and to bring in real life experience while also be a great teacher. And we do that in a setting where we are a renowned institution. Everything what we do is organized in a very structured way. It's tested, it's proven, it's successful. Yet in terms of what the content then is, we're very responsive. And I'm pretty sure that in a year from now we will come up with even more exciting specialization.
That's great.
Because if you think about the Netherlands, you think about business. We have a lot of that. That we also, if you think about interior design, we have also great interior design companies there. If you think about fashion management, we have multinationals with their headquarters in the Netherlands. Not by origin Dutch brands, but currently with their whole headquarters located in the Netherlands. And then if you want to be successful as a student, want to have an internship at such a company, then of course you need to be in the Netherlands.
Absolutely. So during the time the student is studying at Tio Business School, I think the university is extremely important in, developing some very particular qualities in students, right? So let's say an employer is hiring. So how will he differentiate a Tio Business School graduate versus the other?
So a Tio student really stands out because of everything what they have experienced throughout their career, which has grown their skill, their confidence, the way they can present themselves, and the way they master certain very practical capabilities. All based on solid scientific theory, yet made very applicable. So what's currently very relevant again on the topic of AI, of course an employer is seeking new employees who can master those tools and who understand what the value is of such a tool, but also what pitfalls are and what the challenges are. You need to use it properly. And so of course our students stand out because no matter what the subject is, if there is a touch point with AI, we already have included it in the curriculum. And so typical Tio student, if you line up 10 students, the typical Tio student stands out. And how to present themselves, how to dress, how to act, how to connect, and that's you really grow as a person.
Right. So you've been talking about AI, which is of course a very pivotal point, at this point in journey. So let's say there is a student who comes to the university while they're being taught AI. How does Tio Business School involve AI and more technologically advanced curriculum or learning style in the curriculum itself? So how does it become a very immersive, experiential learning to them?
So we have several options which are there and which are used by our lecturers. So first and foremost, we have our own AI platform implemented. It's called Cogniti. That's an environment which is very safe. You can put in any sensitive data. It uses the AI models of OpenAI, so the GPTs and Claude. You can select which one is probably performing the best, and then dependent on the subject, you use it the best possible way. Next to that, teachers bring in other relevant models. So at the moment of this conversation, at least in Europe, you see a great surge in use of OpenClaw. That's used to. So our teachers are actively diving into it and making it part of the curriculum as we go. And we highly advocate for students to test AI and to bring it in themselves. So, of course, we safeguard that you still learn the basics yourself very well, but you also learn how to use the appropriate AI model. And of course, again, it's a painstaking development because we need to invest a lot of time in it.
Absolutely.
But we're happy to do that because we're relevant.
Yeah.
And that's the promise, and that's how we want to perform. Because again, next year we will be on top in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
So we're happy to do that.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Now, one major factor that the Indian students are concerned about is the cost, right?
Yeah.
So typically, how much will a student end up spending during the course of study? Let's say a student wants to go and do an MBA. So other than the tuition fee, what all expenses do you think the student will go through in the Netherlands?
Of course, cost is a relevant subject, and we see it really as an investment in your future.
Yeah.
And the thought experiment of a student with a 1-year MBA program next to the tuition fee, of course, you need to have a proper house.
Correct.
As Tio, we're happy to provide it to you. We guarantee it, and we have a solid relation with a professional housing provider, which develops and exploits our campuses.
Yeah.
And they're there for our students. They're dedicated for our students exclusively, and that comes only at the housing cost. It's not something we as Tio Business School take a stake in. It's really only the market price which you pay. Ballpark figure, depending on where you want to live. If you want to live nicely in our Tio Tower in Amsterdam City Center, the monthly rent is €1,200. Some extra costs, so give and take 14 to 15,000 euros a year. You have a 2-room apartment with all facilities, all the furniture, a washing machine, dryer, television, everything is in it. And then you need a couple of €100 every month to have a proper decent lifestyle. Go out, have a dinner, become a member of a sporting club, have a nice evening in the bar with your students, with other students, with your friends. So that's and typically traveling in the Netherlands is done by public transportation. That's not so expensive, and of course in the Netherlands we love to ride a bike. So I'm pretty sure that students will get a hang of that.
Absolutely.
But, so it's an overseeable investment for something which leads you, if you want to continue your career in the Netherlands.
Right.
After graduating, you typically have a job.
Yeah.
The statistics are overwhelmingly positive there, with plenty of interesting stories to share of our alumni who already have a job at graduating. And as an international, typically you experience the benefit of being an expat in the Netherlands, and that leads to a high net income.
Yeah, and that brings me to call out Tio Business School has 98% employability rate, which is fabulous.
Yeah.
So how are you ensuring that year on year you're able to maintain that?
Again, that's a result of a lot of individual steps we take with every student. So as a student with Tio Business School, you're a person. We know you on a first name basis. Also, I'm weekly on every campus. And so typical Tio student, I know quite a few of them. Not all of them, I know quite a few of them. My staff knows all of them. And so your study coach, your teachers and lecturers, they know you by name. And they know what your preferences are, what your strong points are, also what your challenges are, so they help you. The study coach explicitly, the study coach is there to find your internship together with you. It's always a co-creation. Of course, you need to sell yourself to a company. You do that together with your study coach. And the same counts for finding a part-time job. Again, it's very easy in the Netherlands to have a part-time job. It's very normal. Over 70% of the students have that. And we're there to help, to guide you towards the right agency who finds that for you, or to do that through the network which we have. And so that all leads to that successful outcome of typically that your career already started while studying at Tio. And we have plenty of students who start their own business. If you're entrepreneurial, very easy to register your own business at the Chamber of Commerce and to test the waters and to create a startup.
That's great.
No.
And any particular quality you found amongst Indian students at Tio?
So the great thing is that they're really outgoing, they're really entrepreneurial, and by definition from a culture perspective, easy to connect with, have a first conversation. I think there's a certain pride and confidence in the Indian culture, which is perfect to show. So show that to the world. We need it. We really need it. It's a mindset which is very helpful to help you advance also in business life.
Absolutely, and that's very important.
Yeah.
One main question that I'm sure every student will have in their mind is about scholarships, because studying abroad, of course, is an expensive affair for any Indian student. So what sort of scholarships are there for Indian students, and how can they apply? How can they get closer to getting a scholarship?
First and foremost, the important step to take is to show yourself. Because there is in that respect a Tio type of student. Typically you can spot the difference with other students. And so it's very important to show yourself and to show your story, why you want to study with Tio, and what your motivation is, and why you really want to step up to that challenge to become part of Tio's Business School and to develop yourself in this way. And so we really, for us, it's really important to get a strong connection with you as a person and to get a good sense of that personal story. Of course, next to some academic achievements, the fact that you already possess a great English skill, language skill is important. So it's a mix of factors, but first and foremost, it's about show your personality. And then we are fully aware about the investment which is required. And then for those students who request a scholarship, of course we are easily tempted to provide such a student with that. So we're not a university who works with budgets or with very strict rules. We look at the person and we decide case by case on whether that is a realistic scenario, that if a scholarship helps you to really study at TO, then we are easily tempted. The rest of the story matches up to provide you with a scholarship.
So the statement of purpose, where the students are putting down the story, that's typically more important than just seeing grades.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's in that balance we put a lot of emphasis on this first part.
Right. So how do you think an Indian student coming to Tio Business School can prepare himself or herself with the right skills or with the right course?
So it's very important to just bring yourself and the appetite to develop yourself. So to take that courageous step and to bring everything with you what you have. Because you have already your strong points. It has brought you as far as you have come in your life, and that's already quite far. So typically we try to teach us to congratulate themselves. Congratulations, you have come this far, and that's because of a lot of strong points. So please bring them with you. We will help you advance on those strong points even further. Even if that's already on an excellent level, trust me, we will find that extra top so many percent. You also bring your challenges, your doubts, your pitfalls. Don't worry about it. Bring them with you, and we will help you advance from the point where you are. So even if you struggle in a certain field or if you struggle with a certain mindset, we coach you, we help you to master, to get to the next level, to become more confident, for instance, to become more capable. So no matter where you're at a certain skill, no matter what you bring with you, if you're allowed in with Tio, if you become part of our great university, then we will help you advance from that point onwards. And from a very practical point of view, since we provide you with housing, which is almost all-inclusive, you just need to pack a lot of stuff, bring a suitcase, and build your life from that point onwards. So when we really make that whole journey frictionless, also the whole process of choosing where to study. Again, it's an exciting period, but once you have set your mind to studying with Tio in the Netherlands, for instance, we make it a frictionless experience. Of course, some paperwork needs to be done. Of course, we need to discuss matters. Yet from our point, we will do everything what we can to make it a frictionless experience. From all the paperwork, from a visa, to finding a house, getting to know the people who will pick you up at the airport, who will escort you, help you to our campus, to where you live. You have a warm and welcoming feeling. We take care of everything.
So being the number one private university, what is that one fact you'd want to tell the Indian aspirants who want to come to Tio Business School? What is that one reality check that they need to have in their mind before they come to Netherlands?
You really become part of the best there is to help you advance in life and build a successful career, to really help you advance as a person, with your personal skills, your soft skills, your business skills, your capabilities, and that we meet you where you're at as a person. First, you're a person. By definition, you're a person, and that's how we work together. And we don't view you as a student in a large group. For us, you're an individual, and it's by definition in our mindset and the way we operate that we're curious to find out who are you, and we're curious to get to know you. We're looking forward to enjoy the time together for as long as you're there with us, whether it's for a undergraduate bachelor of 3 years or for an MBA or a master of 1 year. Then we're looking forward to enjoy the time. And that's also in the essence of Dutch society. We work hard, we're very serious about business, otherwise we do not create such a successful society. Yet, at the same time, we value quality of life, we value quality of interaction. So, of course, we enjoy a lot of time together. We do activities which at first might not seem that relevant for your study, but in the end, in hindsight, you will say, I've learned a lot about it. That was a pivotal moment in that whole journey. And it was so inspirational to go out into Europe, to visit different cities, visit companies, work on projects, to be confronted with your capabilities, positively or negative. It's a pivotal moment in your life.
And that's what experiential journey is about.
So we're very good in organizing that. And for Dutch students and international students alike, in a nice, very open society and a nice mix at our campuses.
Right. So for an Indian student going to Netherlands, is learning the language really compulsory? And if so, how does it really help them? What do you suggest?
Well, for us, how odd it may sound, it is English first. So life in Netherlands revolves also around the English language. So we take pride in the fact that the Netherlands is #1 in English proficiency on continental Europe. So and that's truly the case. So studying, having a job, becoming part of other organizations, doing sports is all in English. So that's first and foremost a priority to help you advance in your English language skills if that is needed at all. Of course, we're proud of our own language, the Dutch language. We offer that as a module. Of course, we're happy to teach you that. Yet it's an option. So it's definitely not something which is mandatory. We will not bother you with that. It's great to focus only on English. We take more pride to onboard you in the Dutch culture. That's a module which is mandatory. It's part of our any program of our bachelor or MBA. So of course we welcome you to the Dutch culture. That's what we do, but again in the English setting.
So for an employer sitting in Netherlands, let's say an Indian applicant is applying for a job. So what do they really expect from an international student to be ready with?
So a Dutch employer expects you to do the best possible job with focus within the full-time job or the part-time job. If already during studying you can work part-time, so an employer expects from you that you perform. So why are a lot of multinationals with their head offices in the Netherlands, why we have such a successful group of Dutch international companies, is because of that mindset of saying, okay, please join us because of the skill set you have, because of the personality you have, and that we are really, when we work, we're really focused on work. The labor productivity in the Netherlands is one of the highest in the world. So when we work, we're very serious about working, being effective, creating value for your customers if you work with a company. But then next to that, if you have your leisure time, please enjoy yourself and meet each other as persons. So that's also what companies are looking for in the Netherlands. And companies are very eager to have a very diverse set of skills on board and a diverse set of cultures on board. So Dutch society already for really ages has been a very open society, welcoming plenty of different people from all across Europe, from all across the world. So welcoming Indian talent now really makes sense. And again, trust me, all the organizations in the Netherlands have noticed the eagerness and ambition which is there with Indian students. From my perspective, they're sought after talent.
So if you had to describe Tio Business School in just one word, what would you say?
Well, that's a challenging question because, as you can tell, I like to use a lot of words. So that's how I paint a picture. But if I need to describe Tio Business School in one word, it's really what really stands out. So if you permit me to use two words, it's the excellence in everything what we do, but especially being very action oriented. That's it. So if it is one word, it's really we're action oriented. We perform, we help each other, we go out, it's action.
Yeah, and that's one thing that my students going to Tio Business School have also told me, that it's a dynamic, crazy energy environment that you're learning, you're thriving. It's not really you feel like a university, you're literally a business, and or a company, and that's brilliant. All right. So one question that I need to ask you at the end is, any advice for Indian applicants applying to Tio Business School or in general going to Netherlands?
Of course, it's a very valuable effort to already, preparation is 90% of the success. That's already one of the key ingredients of how we teach our students. So, of course, that also counts for taking the step of studying international. So if you want to prepare for a successful study career already in the Netherlands, please dive into everything what matters and what's in the Netherlands. So look it up on any social media, Instagram, look it up on any other reliable source which you can find. So you can please prepare for the setting, for the mindset which is there in the Netherlands. So that really is the best thing to do, because preparation is 90% of the success. We strongly believe in that, and that's what you are taught in many different aspects and what it means to study at Tio Business School.
Right. And what's your vision for Tio Business School in the upcoming years?
So we're a growing institution, we're successful, so we're onboarding more Dutch students, we're onboarding more international students. So my vision is that we are a thriving university with a growing student body, where we safeguard our principles. So being a growing institution means that we will have more classes, not that the number of students in classes will be bigger. So my vision for the future is that we do that very well. That we safeguard what makes us unique, what delivers our quality every day, day in, day out, for every new student, which we view as a customer in that respect. So we are there to serve the needs, and we are there to help you become successful. And so in the next couple of years, we will advance on this path, grow while safeguarding those principles, and adjust ourselves to what is happening in the world and what's happening in business, so that you're always relevant, you're always up to date, and no matter what happens then, as a student, you're well prepared for what's next. Because we live in very exciting times, interesting times, and also challenging times in some respects. So we need to prepare ourselves for that and to make sense out of that world which is highly volatile, and we are preparing students for that.
I think more than a host, as a counselor, firstly, I would like to thank you for the great work that you are doing for the students, especially the international students, whether it be the accommodation, the quality of curriculums. I think all put together, it just becomes a brilliant product for the Indian market and the students, something that it's not just for them to go, but have a brilliant learning experience with. Other than that, thank you for your time today. It was so great meeting you for this brilliant conversation, answering all our questions. And I'm sure I say that on behalf of every student looking at this podcast. Thank you so much, and I hope that we can meet again very soon.
Well, thank you. Pleasure is all mine, definitely. Thank you for these kind words.